Yeah, so I don't think that I need the line art anymore. So I've just deleted that. So that's what I'm left with. I can tell that the proportions aren't quite correct, but the fundamentals are there. I would change that, but because this is just a tutorial, I really just wanted to show you how I get from A to B and then to C and so on. So here we go. So I can see that there's this sort of darker area here. Let's get that in. I have to say, I love it. I love it when it starts to work, when it starts to come together. You can see it for yourself. You can think, okay, because it just becomes fun to work on, because you think, oh, if I just do this, this will work, and if I just do that, that will work. And it's almost like it starts doing it itself. It's like just sort of become a vessel for it. And yeah, sometimes it will go wrong, but so what? Learn from it. As I said before, the more details you can start to bring in, the more convincing this will look from a distance. So with this, I'm bringing in the glistening light off of the pores. And I'm drawing what I can see. And as I said, it's down to the individual, is how much time you want to put into this, but I'm showing you the basics that I do. Far darker, far darker in there than I've done it there. And that's the other thing you've got to kind of fight against, is feeling like you're doing stuff wrong. You know, you're literally looking and examining all the time. I do this to myself all the time. I criticise what I'm doing. Okay, so yeah, that's going okay. I'm quite happy with that. Just bring in a little bit of light there. Okay, so now I'm going to start doing the iris. So let's go in a bit more. So now we can see what we've got going on here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the dark side stuff. So, and then we're going to sort of build up to light. So just start off just up here. And as I said, you don't have to panic. If you make a mistake, you just get the colour that's nearby and use it like an eraser or rubber. Okay. And you can make it go away. I'm not doing this to stick it in a museum or anything like that. Just having fun. Experimenting with our abilities. How far can we push ourselves? Okay, it's the same for me. This one's a little bit out of my own comfort zone. I think I find it a little bit intimidating just because of the details inside the eye. But I'm not afraid to admit it. And I think it's good to hear people, you know, explain that some things are difficult. Sometimes you need that in your life, people being honest with you, not just pretending everything's great, because then you get this false perception that you're incapable and that everyone's better than you, and I've suffered with that. And it's because they don't admit they don't know what they're doing. Now, I kind of know what I'm doing because I apply this technique to everything I do, or everything that I love doing, should I say. And never seems to fail. So this approach, blocking it in, then doing the shadows, then doing the lights, and then your brush eventually starts to become smaller and smaller and smaller because you're doing more and more of the details, and you're only doing that because you know that everything else is working and you're starting to feel a bit more confident. So I think I need a bit more darkness up here. I've got a darker shade. This bit here looks darker. Now, you've probably noticed I'm not copying every single bit of darkness going on here into the picture, because this would be an extremely long video even if I sped through things. So I'm just trying to show you the benefits of doing it my way. Okay, right, so I'd say that's basically the darks done. I'll probably put in a few more little bits if I'm honest. Let's say, grab that, there's a bit here that I'm going to pop in. Just grab it from over here. Kind of darker bleed out. And I love this. There's like a sort of like little reflected blue just there. I don't know. I think you can make it out. So that will go in as well. But we're going to just build up. So now I need a lighter blue. So I'm going to go with this one here. Okay, so I want the opacity to be up a bit further. And here we go. There's a kind of like, it's like sort of starish shape going around. So let's try and capture that. I'll make it a bit lighter. Try and make it a bit more obvious. I'm just going to use this colour to build out a bit more around here. That's the nice thing about digital, is that I can just sort of look at it and I go, oh, I haven't got that colour. I don't have to mix it up. It's surprisingly easy. And you've got this ability here. Physical art is definitely harder in that respect, where you go, oh, I haven't got that colour, and now I have to make it. So I've just upped the opacity a bit and shrunk the brush in order to get these little sinews going. So because I've blocked it all in and done all that stuff first, this bit should start to kind of look like I've got it right. You've got to maintain that kind of sinewy look. Let's do some of this white. That's a bit thick. So double tap 2 fingers to go back out of that. Make the brush a bit smaller. Sometimes what I do when I get into like pickles like that is I will like go to the pencil tool and start to put in things like that. But you kind of start to figure out where you're going to start doing stuff like that. So when the brush just becomes too thick, just think, okay, I need something smaller, something more precise. So I'm just going to use the white to kind of make some sinews look like they're sticking out a bit further towards the light than others. And if you're wondering, I'm doing this on a program called Procreate because I'm using an iPad Pro 12.5 inch, I think. A couple of years old now. I still think it's the #1 go-to at the minute. water. Changed it to my Procreate pencil again, just to emphasise these nice light parts of the eye. I hope some people are still with me on this. I haven't got bored and left. Feel free to skip to the end and let me know if I did a good job. Right, so I think I can do a little bit of the bounce light from the eyes. Bring that brush size down, put the opacity up a little bit. Let's try and capture that. There we go. And there's a little bit of white here. I'm going to put in. I think we're getting there. I think we're starting to make progress. I say we. Me. You might be making progress as well, I suppose. You might be doing this at exactly the same time as me. But I think it's going rather well. Pop in some of these lines that are just over here. So I don't think it's fully realised how wrinkly the eyelids actually are. Or see, or on my picture anyway. So anyway, when I come to it, I need this bit to be a little bit more of a sharp focus than everything else has been, because as you can tell, some of the eyelashes are blurred. So I'm going to experiment with an idea I've got, where I'm going to do a layer where parts of it are in focus and then take some of it out of focus. We'll see how that goes. Right, so now I'm going to try and do the eyelashes. So I'm going to make a new layer. Okay, and what I'm going to focus on is, looking at this, I think I'll focus on the ones that are in focus. Okay, I think just for kicks we'll do these light ones here. Let's do them first. There's one here. How's that going to look? I need it to be slightly lighter than that. There we go, that's alright. like these little blonde ones that just kind of, you'd never know without a little tiny camera lens, like this micro lens. So I think they're the only ones that really are worth looking at. So I'll just make that smaller, give it a little bit of a light on the side of it. Don't know why I'm whispering. Okay. So let's grab this black and let's make it slightly more. Right, so the ones that are in focus are there and there. Everything else is fairly out. I mean, arguably you could do those. So they're my focus on those. Make it slightly thicker. So I might start over here. Too thick. Let's try again. Opacity up a bit higher there. That way I don't have to sketch so much to get it to go thick, it'll already be thick. Then you've got this one that comes out a little bit longer. There we go. So I'm going to continue this process all around the eye, and then I'll come back and and we can have a look at how I would do the blur effect to make it stand out more. Okay, so I'll see you in a bit. Bye. So now I'm going to do another layer, and this is my experiment really. So I'm just going to grab this black, and here's what I'm going to do. So a lot of these are out of focus, and the only thing that's in focus is the eye. So now be a little bit more. No, it's way too thick. That might be too thick as well. Let's have a see. No, that's okay. Okay, so now I'm just going to sort of roughly go through. As I said before, if you really wanted to go to town on the detail, be my guest. But because this is a tutorial, I'm just taking it a bit easy. doesn't look like there's actually that many eyelashes in this person's eye. So the idea is that all these ones are going to get blurred. So the reason I keep deleting some of them as well, if you're wondering, is because I want to try and get a sort of natural curl going on. So that's on a separate layer, and if you go over to this, it's like a magic wand. I'll do that. I'm going to go to Gaussian blur, I think that's how it's pronounced. Okay, and then if I swipe across with my pencil, you can probably see that. So they're in focus, they're out of focus. Okay. To match the picture, I need them to be kind of like that. Okay. So now I can sort of see where I need to sort of improve. So I'll take the opacity down a bit. Now I can kind of go over these other ones a little bit more. Sort of bring them out. I haven't done that before, so that was a first for me. But it seems to have done what I wanted it to do. Whilst protecting the stuff that I wanted to stay in focus completely. Okay, now I'm going to do the reflection in the eye. Okay, so I'm going to make another layer. There we go. Now this takes a little bit more thinking about. So take this white. Okay. So what I'm going to do, it's going to look a little bit harmful. Okay. Move that around a bit more. The opacity right up. And this will add more realism to your image. Okay. So now what we can do, let me just now what we can do is we can go through our filters. Okay, and sometimes, yeah, so sometimes you get lucky with things like this, so pin light. But what I'm going to do, so I'm going to bring down the opacity so I can see through it. Okay, so it's sort of around there. Okay, now we can see add's quite good. Overlay is wrong. Quite like add. Okay. Now what we can see when we look in here is we can see all the eyelashes reflecting. So again, that's something that you have to bear in mind when you're doing these things. You know, how realistic do you want this to look? So I would like it to look pretty realistic. So let's have that there. See what we can do. So there's a nice thick one. Thick one here. So I'm doing those first because I can see the other ones have got more kind of blue in them than just black. So I'm going to bring that into like the more blue. I'm trying not to think of them as anything more than just shapes. I feel that if I think of them as eyelashes, I might treat it slightly differently. So I'm just doing my my routine really. This is how my brain functions when I'm in the situation where I'm doing something that's a little bit tricky. Try and break it down into a bite-sized piece and think, how can I make this easier on my brain? So again, just want to make it look as real as I can. So I'm going to just Gaussian blur it a little bit. Too much. So take the edge off a bit. Okay. So I'm quite happy with all of that, so I'm just going to blend it all together. Because it's quite a big canvas, it's only allowing me to have 13 layers. So I don't want too many layers in case I need layers again. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to blend out these rough edges just sort of around here. Yeah, so I think there's like a few little bits and bobs that I would like to touch up. So I'll just make another layer just to be safe. So you've got kind of like here. blend that together. Let's do these highlights. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've liked the video. I think it's come out alright. I think I've done a pretty good job of that. So yeah, you've seen how I've done it, and I'm pretty sure if you wanted to put in more detail you easily could. And I think possibly my next video will be lips. I think that that'll be a fun one to do. And then I might go back to doing a portrait and see how that goes. But you're welcome to leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know if there's anything you'd like me to do, and I'll see if I can help out. Okay, so don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.